Welcome everyone, I'm Tara and this is Loving Ocean Tarot, and today I have a message to share with all of you. This is a collective message, and this week I actually was going to do another pick a card reading, but then this message really had to come through, and I've really been feeling this in my bones for a long time, and I feel like now is the time to kind of get this message out because something is finally breaking through, and I feel like may this message find anyone that it is meant for, because I know that this is not just something that I'm feeling. I feel this on a very collective level. I feel like there's something universal happening to quite a lot of us, and it's something that's really been bubbling underneath the surface for a long time. I've been feeling this energy for a month, maybe more, that something is about to change, and I feel like now we are literally at this precipice, this doorway, this threshold where we are looking back at the past and we are understanding that we are leaving it behind and moving into something completely new and completely different from what we are used to. I drew these cards beforehand, like I shuffled, and typically I wait for just one card to fall out, but three of them fell out, and I think it's super interesting that we have these cards here, Uranus and Saturn, and then we have the red and white rose, and I feel like this is literally exactly the message that needs to come out. In fact, today I was going to do this reading earlier in the afternoon, and then I fell really sick out of nowhere. I had like a stomach ache and a backache, and my head was hurting, and I felt dizzy. And then now I have come back into my body. Like, I just feel so much better, and I think that had to happen for me to even understand this message. And then I was reading the interpretation of this card, and I actually want to read it out for you guys because I think it is so relevant. Like, something is really changing. And look at this, the red and white rose, vital force arising, awakening. In the laboratory, the merging of red and white is an exquisite moment. It means something is coming to life before the alchemist's eyes. The pristine white of the rose is not threatened by the blood red pigment. Their mixing does not make pink, rather each color remains vibrantly itself, expressing its message. Like the rod of Asclepius, representing health and vitality, the flos sapientum appears to signify the awakening of the physical as a gateway to the spiritual. Look at that threshold. I literally just said we're at a threshold. And gateway, this is just, yeah. Without the body, spiritual teachings remain conceptual, not yet integrated into the everyday. And you guys, as I was literally saying that, I sat down to do this reading for you guys in the afternoon, and then my body just went haywire. And I feel like that sort of had to happen for me to be able to sit down and come to this message with new eyes, with a new mind, with a new perspective. Okay, this card encourages the alchemist to honor the body as a temple each and every day, observing it, listening to it, mining it for information and guidance. At its height, this card signifies a mastery, a uniting of body to serve the soul's purpose, as seen in the like of dancers, athletes, and during the birth process. I also want to read what it says right here. It says, in esoteric yoga practices, one may understand this card as Kundalini rising, or the activation of what in Sanskrit is called the Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna Nadis. I cannot make this shit up, honestly. And look at that, like there was like a reference to Hindu philosophy pretty much. And then this card right here, Saturn, it has this scythe right here, and it says Karm in Hindi, and that is karma. And I feel like this is literally like all connected, and this red and white rose is so significant because it is implying that we're at this threshold, you guys, where we are really just, our body in itself is becoming a doorway into the spiritual world. And I feel like this is something that has been in the works for years, because there has been so many people have had a spiritual awakening in the past, say 4 or 5 years, starting with like the pandemic as well. But for a long time it remained very up in the air. It remained very separate from the real world. We separated the spiritual from the physical, and that we had a 3D realm and a 5D realm. And I feel like this red and white rose is implying that there is a merger between the two happening right now. And I feel like this year is really powerful. In fact, the era that we're entering right now as a collective is incredibly powerful, because we're recognizing the power and the movement in our bodies, and we're recognizing the divine in the 3D. We're recognizing how to sort of merge these two things, and yet they're not becoming pink. So it's not like they're completely mixing, that the spiritual and physical are just becoming one. It's rather that they're entwining, like finger, like this, you know, or like two vines, like just growing with each other. Like we are living so close to the spiritual world, and this, like, it's all just so close. And even look at this, like we have Uranus and we have Saturn here, and Uranus is associated with Aquarius. It's all about new realizations, breaking the norm, getting out of your head. There's like this new breakthrough and new understanding and new perspective, and just completely like a breakdown of everything that was old and worn out, and we are coming into it with new breath and new life. And then we have Saturn, which is such an opposing different energy, because Saturn is all about time. Saturn is about effort. Saturn is about recognizing hard work and putting in hard work and really going into everything very step by step. And I feel like for these two cards to come out along with this, I think it's such a, I actually feel like putting them slightly like tilted or something, because like they are leading to this situation right here. We have had this awakening, we have had this breakthrough, and we're going to continue to we're going to just continue having this breakthrough, because now we're understanding it on a completely new level. And then we're putting it into practice, and we're doing the everyday bare bones work of it to make it a reality. This is such, I don't even know how to completely express this, because I feel like this has been in the works for so many years. And I feel like even astrologically, we are seeing signs of some kind of change, some kind of shift in the way that we're approaching our spirituality, and the way we can really bring that down to the ground, the way we can incorporate it into our daily lives, the way that we can even like look at each other, like form relationships that are so real but have the divine based in them. And I know I'm kind of talking in metaphorical ways, and I'm kind of speaking with abstract terms, and like for those of you that aren't into spirituality, it might seem like I'm saying things that just don't make sense. But I feel like for those of you that are here, and for those of you that it's resonating, like I hope you take this message and really kind of apply it to your life in the way that needs to be applied. But I feel like generally speaking, like we are all entering this kind of massive shift. I want to get some more like information, so I'm going to just like put these cards to the side. I'm going to leave this one actually. I'm going to put this one here, and let's get some more cards, because we need to see what's going on here. I want to see first off like what's going on, like who are we becoming, like the collective. We're shifting into something completely new. We're shifting into a new way of being. So what is it that is awakening within us? Can we get some more information? Okay, we have a lot coming through. Look at this. We have Thanatos and we have the Storm. This is making me think immediately of like the lightning that we had in Uranus as well. Like look at the colors, like it's so similar. Of course these two decks are both made by the same creator, Krans, and I love her work so much. But I feel like, yeah, a storm is exactly what's going on. And I think what this means, like, because I asked like who are we becoming, and for the storm to come out, you would think a storm is something that's happening to us, but rather I feel like the point is that we are the storm. And Thanatos, the god of death, we are just completely like breaking down structures that don't make sense. And that's why we're the storm, because we're breaking away things that don't work. And I feel like right now you guys are in the stage where you're, oh my god, also I'm kind of all over the place because like a lot of messages are coming through at the same time. But the cobwebs, it makes me think of like clearing away cobwebs, doing this like spring cleaning almost. So I feel like we're doing this energetic cleaning of our lives, and we're looking at the things that are in our lives that we have accumulated over the past so many years, and we're breaking away things that no longer work. We are the storms that are entering our lives. We are the storm, and we're coming in and we're breaking away at things that do not serve us. It also makes me think of just this really powerful energy that does not really stand for anything and is unstoppable, invincible. Because in the face of a storm, everybody's kind of scared. Everybody's terrified of what's going to come. And I don't mean this to say that we're going to become scary people that are going to go around hurting people or hurting things around us. But rather, we are going to do what needs to be done in order to enter the best part of our lives. We're going to enter this new era, because they keep saying that, I think that was like a plane that went by, but it made me think of like thunder. And for that to happen right now, I feel like that's also super fitting. But what I wanted to say was that they have that saying, right? The calm before the storm. And I feel like that was the era that we were in before. We were very like, there was a lot of introspection going on. There was a lot of retreating from the outside world happening, where no matter how much that you actually wanted to go out and participate in the world, maybe you were forced to go inwards instead, to turn your mind inwards, turn your attention inwards, really introspect. That was the calm before the storm. And now it is time for the storm to take place, for you to actually incorporate the things that you've learned in that period of introspection into your life. And the thing is, when we enter one era and we're leaving a different era, even though it might be like step 1, step 2, there is a clear threshold in the middle where we have to break away from things that no longer make sense for this newness to come into play. And that is where we are right now. We're in the era of the storm, where we are really making changes to the way that our life looks. We could be cutting away people that don't align with us, and we could be leaving jobs that don't align with us. We could be just starting new projects, and for that, you need to maybe do a very literal spring cleaning. Maybe you need to set up like a little space in your house from where you can actually work diligently on your project. And for that, you need to clean away things. You need to maybe throw away things that you're holding on to for the sake of just memories. You're even almost like, I feel like you're clearing away memories, or rather like you're organizing your memories with a lot more clarity. I feel like sometimes we have this possibility of looking back with the rose-tinted glasses, and even things that sort of hurt us, we end up holding on to them because we have this nostalgia factor working in there. But I feel like you are coming into it with such fresh eyes that you are being able to look at your memories with a lot of honesty and clarity, and tell yourself that, like, I know I've been holding on to this memory, holding on to this emotional baggage, holding on to a certain pattern, but now that's no longer working. That's no longer bringing me joy. You're like Marie Kondoing this shit. You're like, we're not holding on to anything that does not bring us true, genuine joy anymore. And that's why, like, we have this card, right? Thanatos. And I feel like spiders, in fact, I read this very interesting thing about like how spiders, they feel their web. Like when they weave a web, their senses also extend to the web. So they know when like a fly lands on the web, or they know when there's like drops of dew on a web. They can sense that, and they can feel it. They can very literally feel it. And I feel like that's why we're becoming so much more aligned with, or rather we're becoming more in tune with our surroundings and figuring out what works, because we're realizing that all these things that we've kept around us in one way or the other affect us. So even though we might not literally feel our surroundings, like I don't feel like my desk, like I don't sense things that are lying on my desk, but energetically those things are affecting me, right? Same thing with our memories, same thing with the energy that we give out to the people around us, we're now sensing the role each thing plays in our lives with a lot more clarity. We're understanding the web that we've created, and because we're understanding it, we want to make sure that this web works for us and that we can actually think of the web that we're creating as a safe and uplifting home for ourselves. And sometimes you need to cut away things, and that's perfectly fine. And that's what's going on here. We're the storm that's entering our lives, and we're cutting away things that no longer work, that no longer make sense. Let's get some more information. Like, what are we ushering in? What are we ushering in? We have the Eight of Cups again. Eight of Cups is all about like walking away. So there's like a lot of, to me, this signifies that we are getting a lot more used to walking away from things that no longer serve us. I feel like for so long, we've tried to be in this space where we are more open to things, and we try our best to find the best in something, to see the best in a person, to see the best in a situation. But now that isn't working anymore, because now we're realizing that our hope and our faith in just finding the best in something can often hurt us, because, how do I say this? Like, I think it's really good to be in a mindset of looking for the best in something, to look for the best in people, to look for the best in a situation, in a place, in whatever. But have we been doing it the right way? Have we been doing it in a way that actually is positive and brings positive change? Or are we doing it because we're scared? Are we doing it because we're scared of saying goodbye to things? Are we doing it because we're scared of conflict? Are we doing it because we want to believe that there is more goodness? And that, are we in some way harming ourselves by deliberately avoiding seeing the truth of a situation, seeing the truth of a certain person? And I feel like this era that we're entering, we're going to realize that it's okay, that we can survive this. We can survive the storm. We can survive the destruction that we ourselves bring into our lives. And when I say destruction, I don't mean that we're like, again, I keep reiterating, we're not hurting people. We're not just destroying things by being malicious. No, we are just cutting away things that are drowning us, that are holding us back from being our best self. And the thing is, you might think, so here's a very important thing that's a part of this message, and that is that there is this thing that happens when you start becoming aware of the negative forces that are kind of feeding you. When you become aware of the negative forces that are feeding off of you in your life, when you become aware of people's bad behavior, when you become aware of how something is draining you, how somebody's taking advantage of you, how somebody's manipulating you, you have been in a position previously where, out of your own inherent goodness, you often chose to give other people the benefit of the doubt. And it was maybe because of people pleasing, it was because you wanted to just maintain the peace and all these different things. So when you stop doing those things, when you stop doing something, when you stop just taking people's nonsense just for the sake of keeping the peace, it often to you may feel like you are being less considerate, that you are becoming less empathetic, that you're becoming more demanding. But you need to know that you deserve good things. You deserve to be treated with respect, with love, with kindness. And just because you're cutting away people that have not treated you with those things does not mean you're becoming more demanding. It just means that you are recognizing that you deserve better. So initially there might be a period where you feel like you're being less empathetic, where you're being less considerate, but you're going to realize that, you know, being those ways is actually going to open you up to a lot of true empathy, where you're going to be able to give with a lot more, you're going to be able to give so much more of your authentic self to the world if you are around people that support your authentic self. And so if your authentic self is kind and loving and good and true, you can only give that to the world if you have people around you that are supporting that version of you. And if you, on the other hand, have people that are draining you, that are just feeding off of your essence or just manipulating you or hurting you, you're gonna make your authentic self scared and small and constantly in need of their approval and attention. So sometimes it's okay to be that storm that cuts away the people that are just affecting you in those ways. And when you do that, you're gonna realize that you can survive saying goodbye to people, you can survive saying goodbye to situations, you can survive just anything that you previously thought, you can survive the lack of something. You're gonna realize that. And I think that's what this is about. Like, we're ushering in this era where we know how to say goodbye to things because we know that we can survive. What are we ushering in this new era? I really hope I'm making sense, you guys, because I feel like the messages are kind of all over the place, but I hope that you're getting what I'm saying, because I feel this so strongly. It's just that my words are falling short maybe. But what are we ushering in? What are we ushering in this new era? What are we ushering in? Ooh, look at that. We have the Emperor. Yes, absolutely. We are ushering in an era where we take so much. Oh my god, yes. This is making me think of two things, and they're both really connected to what I just talked about like, consideration and empathy. So on one hand, this is making me think of how we are going to become people that can really hold others accountable, and we can also hold ourselves accountable. So right now, this is making me think of somebody who's really in their power, and they really trust themselves, and their confidence is really high because they trust themselves to do the right thing, and they believe in themselves. Like, this is us, by the way. This is the era that we're entering, you guys. This is at the era that we as a collective are entering, where we are going to feel so much more in our power. And it's because we are going to begin to hold other people accountable, just like we're going to be able to hold ourselves accountable. So any time that you end up doing something that is inauthentic, your soul will know, and your soul is going to communicate that to you somehow, because it's going to feel literally like, I don't know how to say this, but it's going to feel sick to not be your true self. It's going to feel like suffocating to not be your true self. And that's that's your soul holding you accountable for not being authentic. That's your soul holding you accountable for doing something that is just people pleasing. Or even people pleasing is like, it's a trauma response, but it's also a form of manipulation, because you're manipulating people to think a certain way about you, that you are somebody that cares a lot about them or whatever. I mean, that's like a whole other topic that we can talk so much about, but like, feeling sick when you don't feel like you're being true and authentic to yourself is your soul's way of holding you accountable. Man, you can take this in writing, like what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it is your soul's way of holding you accountable, because for you to feel truly good, you need to be acting from a space of honesty and clarity and genuineness. And when we give that to ourselves, we are okay with doing that to other people as well. So when people don't treat us right, we're going to be able to tell them, like, you didn't treat us right. When a situation doesn't work for us, we're going to be able to walk away from the situation. This is like somebody who has a lot of strength and who just sticks to their word. I feel like there's also this this energy of like sticking to your word. And there's also like this other message coming through of like honoring the promises that you made to yourself. And I'm also hearing things about like discipline. Hang on, let me just I'm gonna get like another card here. I'm gonna get like one from these little tiny tarot decks, just some confirmation. That's 2 cards. Can I get 1 card? Confirmation. What is this saying? Again, a lot of cards. I feel like, okay, yeah, this is... No. They just want me to get this message too without tarot. I feel like sometimes my guides literally like test me. And they're like, no, like you can get these messages without the help of the tarot. You just do that then. And like I said, like this is about honoring promises you've made to yourself. I feel like, okay, this is a very specific message. And I don't know how you guys are going to take it, but I'm going to tell you guys anyway. But I feel like there have been times in this era that we are leaving where we really misconstrued certain things because there's a lot of chatter around us, right? There's a lot of chatter online, on social media, about what it means to be kind to yourself, or what it means to be gentle and soft. And I feel like a lot of those definitions are changing for us as we enter this new age. And I feel like there's a combination happening here where we are simultaneously taking ourselves less seriously while also really honoring and respecting ourselves. And what that means is that in our actions, we are going to be able to hold ourselves to a certain level of discipline. And I feel like we're just gonna get a lot stronger because we're gonna have so much faith and belief in ourselves to actually get through things that it's really gonna strengthen our perception of ourselves. And not only our perception, but we as people are going to be strengthened, or rather the strength that we've had within us that's been sleeping is awakening. Oh yeah, and wasn't there stuff about like this awakening right here as well? Like we are just awakening the strength that is already within ourselves. And that's why we have the storm here. We have always been capable of being this powerful storm, and it is only this era that is awakening this part of us, that is telling us that we can let go of that part of us that feels afraid to go through pain and lack, and just to transform, because transforming is painful as well. And like once we transform, we're going to look back and think like, oh my god, like we did that, like I did that, I can't believe that I got through that. And that's going to give us so much strength, because we're going to be realizing that we have that strength within us already. And so the actions that we take, they're going to be with that belief. I feel like our actions really change based on who we think we are, or what we think we're capable of. So if you think that you're not capable of doing something, suppose you had this dream that you wanted to work towards. Okay, we're coming back to the discipline thing and coming back to this thing that I said about honoring our promises. Suppose you had this dream, okay, you want to start your own bakery, and you've had this dream for a long time, and a lot of days you would wake up and you would feel scared, and you would be like, how do I get through this? Like, how do I know where to start? How do I know whether or not I can put that amount of effort in? How do I know that I'll be able to keep my bakery afloat? And those fears stopped you from acting. And a lot of times you viewed that as being gentle with yourself. Like, oh, I'm just allowing myself to rest. I'm allowing myself to take some time to think about it. I'm allowing myself to be introspective. And those are all very, very, very important things. But then it went overboard, and you got a lot more used to giving yourself leeway than actually like working on making your bakery a reality. And I feel like this storm is us awakening the things within us that are going to help us make our dreams come true. So you're gonna go out there and you're gonna make that bakery a reality, because you will realize once the storm passes that you survived the storm. And if you can survive the storm, you can survive the effort that this bakery needs you to put into it. Again, this bakery is just like one example, but apply this to whatever is going on in whatever's going on in your lives. And I think something very powerful is happening, and I think you guys can sense it too. Like, if you're here, I think you also sense that something is beginning. And I think you also might have felt this urge to like rush out into the world and to do things. Like, there's this energy just wanting to like do things. Like, I'm done introspecting, I'm done just dreaming about my things, I'm done putting my dreams off. I want to make everything a reality. I want to walk out into the world and be able to tell the world that, you know what, here I am, and I'm going to do what I really, really want to do. And here I am, you cannot treat me poorly. I'm holding myself accountable, I'm honoring my promises to myself, I'm making my bakery a reality. And if I can do this, I can hold you also to a certain standard, to treat me with a certain amount of respect. Do you see? It's like this dual thing happening, because the way that you're treating yourself is representative or reflective of the way that you're treating others, or rather it's like the other way around, that the way that you treat others is reflective of how you treat yourself. And I feel like if you're entering this like no bullshit era, where you're not taking other people's nonsense, you're also not taking your own nonsense. And I know that this can be like a hard message for some, because none of us like to think of ourselves as being nonsensical. Like, we don't like thinking of ourselves as people that make those kinds of mistakes. But we're going to, yeah, it's like a different kind of awakening. And I feel like it's different. You know, on one hand, I think we can be super self-critical and, you know, like overly critical, where we're like, oh my, like overthinking every action that we do, and overthinking just the way that we interact with other people and the decisions we make in our lives, and we get super anxious and we think of ourselves as being unworthy. But this is a different kind of critical analysis, you can say, because it doesn't, we are having this critical analysis based on the fact that we think that we are worthy and deserving of good things. And because we think that we are worthy and deserving of good things, we are being able to re-evaluate our own actions and how our actions hold us back from the very best things that we deserve. So our earlier actions, our overly critical nature, was something that was actually holding us back. And this new critical analysis that we're doing is looking at that behavior critically, looking at our people-pleasing tendencies critically, looking at our overthinking critically, looking back at our perfection critically. And by demolishing those tendencies, those patterns, those behaviors, we're able to just enter this new era of growth. I feel like so far we've talked a lot about like the threshold, right? Like, who are we becoming and what's going on? And I think that's because this is like a general reading. It's for the collective, and so I can't exactly pinpoint what kind of situation we're going to be entering, because for some people maybe it is that bakery, but for other people it's about maybe leaving a certain relationship, or reevaluating a certain relationship, or starting a new project, or just doing something completely different. But I do want some information here about, like, let's see, what do we want to know? Like, I want to know some things. I think the reason why I don't really know what I want to know is because Spirit just has some message that they want to give us, and, you know, they don't have a category, or rather I don't know which category it falls into. So yeah, just what information do you have for us, Spirit, about this shift that we are going through? Okay. Lots of cards. I'm gonna wait for one. Can I get one card, please? What era are we entering? What information do you have for us, Spirit? What messages do you have to give us? Okay, 2 cards. I can take 2 cards. We have the Moon, and we have the 8 of Swords. Oh my god, this is literally exactly what I've been talking about, you guys. Okay, wait. I know there's like a glare there, so I'm gonna put these down here. This is literally exactly what I was talking about. Like, look at this card, right? It has this person, and they're looking into like this reflection of themselves in the water, and they see like a skeletal version of themselves. And this is making me think of being like how we're going to be able to look at ourselves with like a lot of honesty. And the Eight of Swords, exactly, Eight of Swords represents everything that's been holding us back. Like, oh my god, literally look at this imagery. We have like this storm that's taking place here, and we have these swords that are trying to stop the storm in some way. And so to us, for so long, we have perceived this storm, we have perceived this powerful aspect of ourselves as something that we need to fight against. That it almost seems like we are unable to like reconcile that we have this part of us that is so uninhibited and powerful and unlimited, and it scares us. It's scared, like our own potential scares us, and so we try to contain it, so we try to fight against it somehow. So we like stick to patterns that we know on some level aren't working, because to unleash this destruction means that a lot of newness is going to take place, and newness is uncomfortable. But now we are looking at ourselves with a lot of honesty. So I feel like this shift is happening on such a fundamental level in our own being, in our own personality, where we are really viewing ourselves with like a lot of honesty, and a lot of just shit is coming out, and we're looking at it with fresh eyes that are critical but not overly critical. It's like we're writing a paper on ourselves, and we're being able to do it from this neutral perspective of just wanting to learn more. But I want to clarify again that this energy, I know what I'm talking about, like, you know, critical analysis and how we're going to write a paper and be like unbiased and neutral and all that jazz, but we are in no way intellectualizing like things that are happening around us anymore. I feel like we're actually moving away from overly intellectualizing things and just keeping stuff limited to our head. I feel like we're also coming down to the body. You know what I said about like how initially when people were having the spiritual awakenings, there was this clear divide between the spiritual and the physical, from the like the 5D, the 7D, whatever, and the 3D. And I feel like a lot of people aspired to connect with the spiritual, and they often neglected the physical. But I feel like we are coming back into our bodies, but like I said, we are at a threshold, so we're not fully there yet, but this is what we're going to be coming into. So like this energy of like looking at your reflection and seeing something different, it's almost made me think of also like shadow work, and about letting that shadow work enter the space of the body. So all the pain that you've had, that you perhaps overly intellectualized, or all the, even like the joys that you felt that you overly intellectualized, that you just attributed to the spiritual, and you just, it's made me think of this like the show I watched recently. And in the show, like this group of friends, like they lose one of their friends, and one person is talking a lot about like, oh, like this friend, like they're now a butterfly, and just, you know, they're always around us. And while that is 100% true, what the other friend says is that they want to feel their grief, they want to feel their sadness, and maybe after they feel that sadness, can they move on to believing that their friend is around them. But for right now, they want to sit with that grief. And I think that's so important, that sometimes like when we try to overly intellectualize or overly spiritualize things, we often neglect the body, we often neglect the physical world, we often neglect our surroundings. But just because we're neglecting our surroundings and looking away from them doesn't mean that those surroundings don't have an effect on us. And that's what I talked about, like with the spider, right? So we have this web around us, and even though we are looking away from it, it doesn't mean that we can't actually feel the pain, right? So even if we're looking away from the pain and we're trying to look at the beautiful skies, it doesn't mean that the pain is in some way affecting us. And to me, this new era is implying that we are actually allowing ourselves to feel and sit with our pain, to feel and sit with all of our emotions, including our joys. And this also means that we are going to really be able to proudly celebrate our joys and our wins. Because often we can even just be like, oh, you know, like this was just meant to happen, this was destiny, or maybe I got lucky, or I just, really playing it down or like attributing your success to like external forces. But right now, again, like I said, you're going to be able to take up accountability, right? And taking accountability also means that you're going to be able to allow yourself to feel joy for the things that you have brought into your life. So when you bring that bakery into your life, again, I'm going back to the bakery example. Suppose you get your bakery and you start selling cakes and whatever, and you're not going to just look back at it and think that, oh, like I just had so many external forces helping me and it was just like a lucky day that I opened the store. And no, it's not going to be like that anymore. You're gonna see the hard work you put in and be like, oh my god, I'm so proud of myself, and I'm going to celebrate myself for doing all of those things. So this is not just some like I don't want to say the word negative, because I feel like that has such a strong connotation to it, because things like grief and sadness and anger, they're not negative, they're very important parts of being a human being. Again, like this overly spiritualized thing about like how everything has to be love and light and positive all the time, we're moving away from that. And because it's important for us to feel the whole range of the human experience. Maybe like once we get to this stage where we are just enlightened beings, then everything feels like love and light. But right now we're human beings. We are here to have the whole range of human emotion. And what's the point of being born as a human being, but then always aspiring to just strip away everything that makes you human? What makes us human is the grittiness, the anger, the sadness, the grief, the nostalgia, all these like the melancholia, all these different beautiful emotions that we really need to just keep us going. The frustration, the stress, the anxiety, like all of it is so real and so important. Everything has something to teach us, even if what it teaches us is how to be in our body and actually deal with it, like how to sit with our anger, how to sit with our grief, how to sit with our frustration. Like also look at this, like the imagery on this card as well. There's like so many different like colors and like specks of light, and just it's just like madness. And I feel like we're allowing ourselves to just experience ourselves in all our unbounded madness. This is a beautiful reading. Like it is like kind of on the heavier side, because like we have like a lot of like themes about like walking away from things and just seeing ourselves in all our honesty and all that stuff. But I feel like you're gonna feel such a breath of fresh air, just like you're gonna feel like you can breathe again. Yeah, like literally, like all this, like I don't know if you remember like if you've seen the imagery on the Rider-Waite card for the Eight of Swords, and it's this woman and she's bound by ropes while having all these swords around her, and all those things are breaking away. Everything that's been holding us back is breaking away, and we're doing that. We're breaking away the things that are holding ourselves back. And that's what I mean, like we're holding ourselves accountable, because we're looking at ourselves and thinking, hey, like I can do this, I can break apart from these things, I can survive the lack of my old routines and these patterns that used to serve me back then but don't serve me anymore. I can survive losing these things. And once you realize that you can survive without certain things that are holding you back, and you continue to stay with those things, your body is gonna make you feel like sick at the thought of it. And that's, like I said, that's your soul holding you accountable, because it's saying you have all this power to say goodbye to things, you have all this power to walk away from things. Why are you choosing to stay? I'm gonna hold you accountable so that you actually work on that and do what is needed to become the best version of yourself, for yourself and also for the collective. it might feel sad. Like, it's definitely going to feel sad if you, you know, switch up your routine, or just, you know, distance yourself from certain people, or just, you know, leave a certain situation or a place because you feel like it's holding you back, because you do have good memories with it and you do have like attachments to it. But the newness, the freshness you're going to feel afterwards is going to feel so good and so authentic. Again, like, this message might not resonate with all of you, because if you're listening to this and thinking, well, like, you know, I'm actually surrounded with the most supportive people in my life, I don't want to distance myself from them, then this message is obviously not for you. But for those of you that have been feeling like a little just something underneath the surface, where you feel like no matter how much you try, like, it's not working, and it's not even a matter of trying, it's just a matter of maybe being incompatible with a place, a person, a situation, a job, or whatever, a belief system. Yeah, it could be that you're just feeling incompatible with a belief system in your head, and so you have to let that belief system go. I'm gonna get like just some last cards here before letting you guys go out into the world and do your thing and be your full storms. What are some final messages from Spirit? What are some final messages from Spirit for this collective message? Health. I will honor the physical vessel that enshrines my soul. Look at that. That is amazing. Yes, we're coming back into our bodies 100%. And do I need to like read this again? I'm going to actually read out what it said, because I think it's necessary at this point. Without the body, spiritual teachings remain conceptual, not yet integrated into the everyday. This card encourages the alchemist to honor the body as a temple each and every day, observing it, listening to it, mining it for information and guidance. At its height, this card signifies a mastery, a uniting of body to serve the soul's purpose. You are going to be working on your health, on your body, on your physical surroundings and circumstances to make sure that they are in alignment with your highest good, that they are in alignment with your soul's purpose. And it was all well and good to learn about spirituality and to figure out more about your soul and figure out more about the 7D world, the 5D world. But now is the time for you to bring that world to you, to bring that world to this physical plane on which you exist. And for that, you need to work on your physical vessel. Not only that, but you just need to recognize that your physical vessel is capable of certain things, that you can push yourself in certain ways, that you can actually break past limits that you don't even remember setting for yourself. This is also about like breaking past your comfort zone. I feel like maybe you guys will also like take up something, some kind of like new physical hobby. Like maybe you guys could get really into, well, working out is like a simple example, but maybe even like specifically like some kind of new martial art that you want to learn, or you want to start maybe preparing for something very specific, like you want to run a marathon. And so you're literally like pushing your body past its limits so that you can learn how to run a marathon. A lot of people like have just like a lot of spiritual insights because of running, because with running you also have to learn more about your breath and your how to use your lungs, how to be aware of the way that your knees are working and moving, and your feet, the way they're falling on the ground. You have to be so aware of the way that your body is functioning. Well, I think that's also true of like a lot of like physical activities. Like you could be working out at the gym or doing like a martial art or just yoga, anything. You have to be very aware of your body. But I think like, and like just coming down to your body, becoming aware of your body, becoming aware of all these different parts of your body and how they're interacting to help you do something, I think that's incredibly powerful. And it's actually going to help you just apply everything that you've learned about your spirituality to your life. I want to get one last message. Oh, This one wants to come out. Relationships. I am attracted to those people who serve my higher good. Exactly. Oh my god, and even look at this like imagery here. Like this, it almost looks like this interweaving web of sorts, like this one right here, of like all your relationships. And like I said, like, you know, there might be certain people in your life that aren't really serving your best good. Wait, is that what I want to say? Like, serving your highest good, and who are actually like in some way hurting you. And here's the thing, it doesn't necessarily mean that the people that are hurting you are doing so maliciously, but sometimes it is okay to have a standard of how you would like to be treated. And even if somebody is, you know, if somebody's not meeting that standard, and they're not meeting that standard just because of their own shortcomings, it's okay for you to move away. Okay, let me try to see if I can word this better. Basically, there doesn't always need to be something seriously wrong for you to move away from a person. There doesn't always have to be something seriously just malicious for you to realize that a person is incompatible with you. And sometimes it's okay to be incompatible with a person as long as it doesn't hinder your authentic self. Because it's okay to be incompatible, but both people sort of recognize that they are just really different people, but they support each other and they support each other's best good. But if somebody is incompatible but they're also like holding you back, that's when you need to step away. Maybe you need to step away for your own good, because you're stepping away because you realize that you don't know how to be your fullest self with this person still around you. And maybe it's not that this person is actively doing something to hold you back, but rather you yourself are holding yourself back. So maybe it's about just a matter of taking like a short break, taking some distance, so that you know that you can strengthen yourself up and trust yourself to be your most authentic self around people that aren't compatible with your personality. I hope you get what I'm saying. I'm saying that a lot. Like, I really hope that this is making sense to you guys, because I literally feel like I'm just blabbering on and on about something and just hoping for the best and wishing that my messages are getting through. But yeah, I think this is where I'm going to leave you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this made sense to you guys, if it resonated with you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for letting me read for you and for sharing your beautiful energy with me. Good things are coming. Don't be afraid. You are super capable. You are so strong. You are so much stronger than you even know, and you are going to find out very soon. So like the video if you liked it, comment down below if this resonated and just how you feel about all of this. And if you'd like more videos from me, subscribe to my channel, and I make like a lot more pick-a cards, and sometimes I do readings like this, like readings for the collective. And I would love to have you here with me in this little corner of the internet. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!